Welcome home, Bitcoin Truth Seekers. It is Saturday, June 19th, 6:08 a.m. here in the Arizona desert, where we are having a heat wave like everybody else. But here, you can't really tell the difference because it's always about the same temperature in hell, to be honest with you. So, with that said, BitcoinDailyView.com. There's more for you there. Thanks for being part of the peaceful revolution, and let's get started. All right, let's look at volume across Binance right now. Now, volume on Binance is wonderful. So we're up about 13%, I believe, last 24 hours, coming in at 17. Is that trillion? See, like hundred, thousands, millions, trillions. Wow. So whatever that is, it's a tremendous amount more volume than we've been seeing. So volume is on the rise, and I think definitely we need to see some volume to see some positive price action for Bitcoin. So this is nice. We're seeing an increase. I'm loving it. It's good. Positive sign. I like this bitbo.io. It's linked to over at Bitcoin Daily View. Well, it shows you a tremendous amount of stuff, but one of my favorite things is just so barbaric and simple. The last 24-hour range, 34,873 and 37,604. So not a pretty tight range, last 24 hours. Not too bad. All right, let's look at the bubbles. Right there in the middle is SHIB. SHIB is rocking this morning, but kind of cooling off. We'll take a quick look at that. Clay, whatever that is up 2%. QNT up 11%. In general, a bit of a red day in the market today, but let's see how this weekend goes. The bubbles are unhappy today. Okay, so looking at Coin 360, red day in the market, of course, but of course we got Matic, DAI, whatever ICP is. T-Fuel has been rocking. So, no matter what, there's always something pumping. And all that really matters is that you're in it. So, let's refresh this. Sorry, it's a little slow. Let's just get the latest data, see if anything's happened. All right, so in general, still the same. Algo definitely in the deep red. That's kind of dumping. Dang, XRP down 3.6%, and ADA or Cardano down 1.9%. Okay, there we go. Bit of a red day in the market. Matic, interesting, and so is SHIB. All right, let's keep going. All right, Bitcoin trading volume, Bitcoin alone, actually, I'm sorry. Uh, let's just call it 6 billion. Okay, 5.9 or 6 billion last 24 hours on Binance, where all that groovy volume is. We've got 3.6 billion, and for a change, somebody else came up and showed up for work today. Coinbase did at 1 billion, so that's nice to see. When we start seeing over a billion on the top exchanges, that's a good day. So we got volume for across the exchanges. This is basically here. If we look at this, this is a spot volume. I just look at Binance. You can look at all of them if you want, but I mean overall we're up across all the exchanges, and I tend to focus on Binance up 13% last 24 hours for volume. That's all spot. That's pretty darn groovy. Tight range. We haven't quite broken out super high yet for Bitcoin. That's fine. Red day in the market, so it says the bubbles and Coin 360. But look at this. We are seeing an increased volume. This is a. Is this? Let me just make sure. This is actually. This is Saturday. Okay, so for Saturday, we're seeing this nice increase in volume. I like it. This could be an interesting weekend. Definitely the traditional market saw some volatility towards the end and a lot of red right as the market was about to close. It was kind of a red day in general for the traditional market. Last minute of trading got crazy. We saw some, traditional stocks make big moves. Anyway, it was quite the bull bear battle right at the end of the closing market yesterday. So traditional markets closed in a tizzy. But I like seeing what's going on. On a Saturday, we're seeing some nice volume. Good to go. For crypto, all right, long 61% for Bitcoin, and then long 38% for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, 61% longs, 38% shorts. Ethereum, 63% longs, 36% shorts. And why I mentioned the traditional market volatility, I was wondering how that might affect Bitcoin over the weekend. So far, we're seeing a nice little move up. Or at least we ain't dumping. So this is something that new questions are mentioned over at Blockchain Education. A good thing that he noticed is really, if you look at where is this range? There's a range tool. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand. I always hate to hold you important people up. But I just wanted to mention, if you look here, really For 17, for 26 days now, we've been ranging really between like 32,000 and 40,000. So 32,000, 40,000. If we tighten it up a little bit, it's more like 32 to like 39. So we've just been ranging. And, the big money, as we can see, the whales are accumulating. The big financial institutions are not slowing down. They're buying. They're loving it. In fact, most likely they're the ones who are holding it at this range. They decided to get in, so they dumped it 50%, keeping it sideways, boom. And also, if you look at the 45-minute chart, it's hanging out right here, a little bit above and below the 45. I'm sorry, a little bit above and below, going up and down as it ranges. The 200 moving average, the white one, and the 314, the purple one. So, I will link to an interesting article on the 314 moving average because it's kind of magical. I'll do that in a future episode. But anyway, 200 moving average and 314, it's hanging out right there in this 45-minute chart. And that kind of keeps, I would say, investors, traders hopeful. If it was trending low below this 200 moving average on the, let's look at a 4-hour chart. How's it looking there? Yeah, see, it's kind of like, I don't want to say we're being played with, but just we're kind of being played with. Look at this. We are below, sorry, hard talking this morning. We are below, we have been below the 200 moving average here on the 4-hour chart, which is kind of, dismal, but recently we broke above it, but we have not stayed above it, so we're below it again. Really, one of the things that I'm looking for when it comes to confidence in hedging back in will be a strong chart on the 4-hour. I want to get above the 200 moving average, find good support on there, bounce off, and maybe even get above this 314. I will, because most likely at a certain point, unless we really see a pretty hardcore, run, my guess, not financial advice, just saying we'll probably bounce between the 300 and 314 a time or two and then make it through. Or, you never know, it's totally possible we just could go straight through it. So I'm waiting for a strong chart on the 4-hour. If we look at these indicators, the squeeze indicator is beginning to show some, well, it's in the red, but it's showing a trend towards the positive. Directional index and ADX, well, they're negative, but they're not trending negative. Stochastic RSI is showing it's a place to buy. Lazy Bear indicator shows buy. KRI is way low. So anyway, a little tip for y'all: fire up the KRI indicator. Just search for KRI, set it for 20. It'll help you out. That's a blockchain education tip for y'all. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun. Ford, they're so dang old that it's like F. That is their stock ticker. You know what I mean? So they've been around for a while. I mean, just F. Anyway, this is a daily chart for Ford, and check this wonderful thing out. There just isn't a whole lot of price action to look at on Bitcoin right now, so I just want to have a little fun since we're all hanging out and just point out some stuff that I think is kind of interesting. So check out Ford. I mean, it retraced a bit. Let's just go to the top here. That's like 300%. In what is that? Like 370% in like 441 days. Okay, that's a bit of time there. But still, Ford has been on the up and up, and we're above the 200 moving average. We've been keeping above the 21 EMA, but we are definitely seeing a pretty hard retrace right now. But I'm just mentioning this because let's throw out some just traditional stuff. I mean, hey, anybody can make an Ameritrade account, and sometimes these traditional things can be kind of fun. Ford is coming out with a new F-150 that is electric. And I know they're going to have a gas model too, but I have an F-150. Most people do. I would not be surprised if you don't have an old rusty F-150 shooting truck out in your backyard if you're, American. So with that said, boom. We're seeing some nice price action for Ford. And I think when the new electric F-150 comes out, hey, it's kind of interesting. And what if they actually made money per vehicle, unlike Tesla, that just basically makes government subsidies per vehicle? Interesting concept. Actually make money. So think about it. Tesla, $600 per share. Ford, right now, $14.52. I mean, what are there, more F-150s or more Teslas? And if there was a badass F-150 that was purely electric, I'm just saying, this is one of Craig's Lambo tips for 2021 and 2022. Anyway, not financial advice. I'm just shit talking, all right? Anyway, Smith & Wesson, one of my favorite, arms manufacturers. once again, along with your old F-150 shooting truck in the backyard, I trust you've got a 357 revolver by Smith & Wesson because you're American. These are essential things to have, like bone marrow, F-150 pickup truck, and Smith & Wesson revolver. If you don't have those things, it's time to fix your shit. Okay, so with that said, check this out. This is Smith & Wesson on some positive news. Here on this 45-minute chart, you got a positive directional index, you got a positive ADX, squeeze indicators rocking, KRI is looking good, stochastic RSI shows a little bit oversold, coming down, and so does the Lazy Bear Wave Trend Oscillator Index, which is linked over at bitcoindailybee.com. I will admit, of course, this is actually one that I was thinking about looking at, but then Jonathan Regan, New Questions over at Blockchain Education, he did post this as just information purposes only, kind of a chart, just looking at some of the blockchain education methodology, just showing how it does work in other markets also, not just crypto. So with that said, beautiful break. Let's actually look at this on a 4-hour chart. Let me look at this on a 2-hour chart. Okay, look at that 2-hour chart. You have a beautiful 2-hour chart, 200 moving average bounce, boom, we're on the way up. Chart looks good here too. Oh my gosh. Look at a 4-hour chart, still above the 200 moving average, making the strong moves, strong indicators. Wow. Let's look at a daily chart. Oh my gosh. Big move on Friday. That is freaking wonderful. This is looking good. Above the 200 moving average, nothing wrong with this chart at all. Let's just fire up my rather boring daily chart with a MACD. Okay, the MACD doesn't work on that one. That's fine. But looking at this daily chart, you know, well above the 200 moving average, looking good. We were visiting it not too long ago, but now we are just boom, moving it because we are actually catching a previous high, probably as finding a little bit of a resistance there. But look, just mentioning, you know, if the crypto market is slow, well, there's always traditional plays to make. Ameritrade. I mean, if you got a Binance account, you can have an Ameritrade account. You know what I mean? With that said, Joe Rogan, double-edged sword. I don't like him or dislike him. I just being so far right of Ted Nugent and Genghis Khan, almost anyone is kind of too lefty for me, and that includes Joe Rogan. But I do like the guy. It's just that he said something very, very wonderful that really, really struck me. Your show is effing terrible. Joe Rogan destroys CNN's Brian Seltzer on podcast rant, and what I like that he said. And I think this is absolutely so important, and this is the key. I mean, Joe Rogan drops some friggin' gems once in a while, and he does. I mean, there is a wisdom within him, even though he tends to say a lot of socialist garbage too. He said this, and this resonates truth. I mean, this actually moved the Earth off its axis about 3 degrees. This is a powerful statement. Everyone knows they're not real. They're not real humans. Boom. There you go. All right. With that said, I did mention this in some of the trade groups that I'm in, and of course, I just got my ass flamed for it. But what I was really focusing on was just the waiting for Bitcoin to drop to 24K. Like him or not, you know, this character, what is his name? Investor. Crap. Who are you again? I forget his name. Yes. What's his name? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I forget his damn name. He's the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Anyway, he made this tweet. The biggest bubble in the world history is getting bigger. Biggest crash in world history coming. Buying more gold and silver. Waiting for Bitcoin to drop to 24K. Crashes, best time to get rich. Take care. Okay, I'm just gonna. What I didn't really clarify when I shared this morning with some people who then just friggin' pretty much wrecked my butt with their flamethrowers is this. He's not a dumb guy. He's an interesting enough guy. He's got. I mean, just because you have a lot of press and you made a lot of money, a lot of people listen to you, doesn't mean that you're necessarily wise at all. I'm not even saying Rich Dad Poor Dad is the best book in the world, and I personally would not want to make money the way that he does. It just sounds annoying to me. But waiting for Bitcoin to drop 20 to 24K. You know what? I would just say that I'm just taking. I look at everything and I take it with a grain of or a bale of salt, whatever. I just looking at Bitcoin. We've been weak for a while, and I don't know. It's something that I've been watching people do, and bless everybody who's doing this. But just seriously, I keep watching people I know, buy these dips, and what are you accomplishing? I just don't. I just don't see this as really a strong chart. We're on the 4 hour here. Okay, just looking at the 4 hour, and we're ranging. That's great. I actually have little alerts at the bottom and top of the range in case we break one way or the other. But take your passion and your idealism, which is hard for me to do also, out of the game and just look at this chart. Okay, maybe we're beginning to see here in the 4 hour recovery, but look, it didn't last. This is a weekend. You've got Janet Yellen and such like that in her little conferences calling friggin' Bitcoin terrorism and things like that. So just be careful. I see so much hopium out there right now that, yeah, man, we're going to 50K. Bless it be. If we do, that's just fine. But just keep some of that powder dry, because we could break lower and we could start ranging between 22 and 30K for another 26 days. Just, it's hard for me too, but I this last dump, it really finally woke me up. See Bitcoin as a chart, not as an ideal. Make money. Idealists tend to usually lose. Anyway, on some good news, Paraguay's Deputy of the Nation and Member of Congress plans to present a Bitcoin bill next month. Amen. Looks like Latin America is leading the way. Of course, do realize they're competing against, well, not proof of work, they're competing against proof of violence. And that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit, okay, I'll admit it. I look at little guy's tweet here, the rich dad, poor dad guy, and waiting for a drop to 24K. Hey, I don't see anybody I don't see what anybody's won recently buying these dips. What dip are you buying? If you were really smart and you got out, a while ago. See, this thing, if I hadn't been an idealist, if I hadn't been like, yeah, Bitcoin, I'd have gotten out right here. I'd have considered getting in here. I'd have probably lost some right in here. I'd have gotten out around here. And I would have saved myself this wonderful, basically loss, and I wouldn't be sitting in sideways action, with a lesser portfolio than I started with. So, with that said, just, dollars based on violence. So, proof of violence, well, what's going to work? Proof of work, Bitcoin, or proof of violence, dollar? This does not sit well with a lot of the globalists. I like living in Arizona. It's kind of fun. One thing that you do see happening down the street is this crazy stuff. I won't even link to it, but if you're watching the news and such like that, it is crazy here right now. The whole, recount thing. Just if anybody wonders who doesn't live here, man, you can feel it in the air. We'll see what happens. I honestly am not partial to it going one way or the other. I don't even think if it was found that Trump did one, it would change anything. But oh my gosh, are we ever living in ground zero? It's nuts here. All right, a friend of mine, Matt Bracken. Okay, I know that Alex Jones is goofy. He's the frogs he's the frogs are gay dude. I actually don't listen to his show, but or any of the stuff over there at InfoWars. But Matt Bracken, a very, very cool character. He's written some very, very good books. He's a very, very good mind. If you'd like to hear some crazy, extreme prepper, just if you like to spend, how long was this video? It's like 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less. If you wanna, I linked it over at bitcoindailyview.com. Check this out. It's not about political bias, honestly. It's one of the reasons why I look at stuff like what our little friend here said, waiting for that 24K drop, and why I'm happily hedged out and wish I'd hedged out a little bit sooner, waiting for Bitcoin to make a strong retrace, is stuff like this. If you want to have some fun, listen to it. If you think it's absolutely dribble and silly, well, I've been crazy all my life, so flame away. With that said, thank you for tuning in to the bitcoindailyview.com. And regardless of the future, whether it's proof of work or proof of violence, we'll see which one wins. We see if we break from history. But at least for now, just know that every Bitcoin Satoshi you own makes a piece of shit banker cry. I hope. Take care.